been doing this 25 years, so.
Okay. All in roofing?
Roofing. Roof, siding, gutters, windows, yeah.
I know you work with insurance agents as well, one of those influencers. What is your approach with insurance agents?
You know, I haven't had a storm in San Antonio in a couple of years, so now a lot of these guys that don't understand how to flip that retail model, they're struggling. So
that's true.
What's good advice to someone getting into the industry to focus on that aspect?
What's your pitch?
What's my pitch? You're gonna laugh. You ready for this?
So customer goes, hey, I like you, sounds good. I don't really want to sign that yet. Can we just see what the adjuster has to say first?
Nope. I'd say I have a scope assessment. This is what I draw up.
I know you work with insurance agents as well, one of those influencers. What is your approach with insurance agents?
So what I do a lot with insurance agents, and I started doing this about 4 years ago, is, and it was hard to get into doing this. I'm not saying people can do it right away, but now in Western Wisconsin, I basically set up a meeting where I have the Western Wisconsin insurance agencies come in. They sit in a meeting, and I'll have a portfolio, and I'll do a slideshow and everything like that of how I can help them with their insureds. And so basically if a storm hits or something like that and an insured calls in a claim, before they call it in and actually open a claim, they'll contact me. I'll come out and do a first inspection. I'll inspect the property, see if it's claim worthy. And if it's claim worthy, then we'll call the claim in.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, if it's a warm lead like that, who's the homeowner going to go with, right?
Right.
You know, and so I help the insurance agents because a lot of times the agents, you know, if they keep opening claims, it doesn't look good for them.
Yeah.
So they want to make sure at least the claim is claim worthy. And in doing that, you have to know what you're looking at. You have to be educated. You got to know, hey, this is hail or this isn't hail. I mean, you can't go up there and say something's a hail damage on the house when you can't find a ding on a vent or a ding on a downspout or.
Yeah.
There's people out there that are.
Oh yeah.
Are like that, man. They're like, hey,
I train on that all the time.
Man, let's throw the spaghetti on the wall and see if it sticks. That's something I have a morality clause, and I don't do that.
Yeah.
And people ask why they got a 95% close ratio with adjusters. Why don't they slope you? Why don't they do repairs on you? I said they don't do that because they know when I go out to a house, my expectation is it's damage that's going to be paid for.
Yeah.
And as long as I do my scope assessment properly and I meet with that adjuster and I explain to them, hey, this is what me and the homeowner notice that is damage on the property.
Yeah.
This is what our expectations are to get taken care of. It runs pretty smooth. And I mean, if I go out to a house and I don't got a ding on a fucking vent or anything like that, and I try to sell an adjuster and say, hey, I'm going to lose my credibility, and they're not. Next time I meet them out there, they're going to be like, dude, that's why I do the scope assessments on all my files. And people are like, what do you mean? Why would you do it on all your files? I said, I do it on all my files for 2 reasons. Number one, the expectation is there with the homeowner and the insurance adjuster that, hey, this is what our expectations are. Number two is to let them show credibility and know that, hey, I know what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you can sit there and tell me all kinds of shit you want, but I know what I'm looking at. And number three is I'm doing the work for the adjuster. Most of the time, if you got the work done for the adjuster when he shows up, and you know what you're looking at, and you got it done right, they're all in.
Yep.
So
with the way insurance is changing, could this be the last season that insurance is really the way it is now for like drastic changes?
Well, there's going to be change. There has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, there has to be because no way insurance companies can be paying this much.
They can't afford to do it. So,
I mean, don't get me wrong. The insurance companies don't lose money.
No.
But they're not in the business of paying for new roofs every 2 years.
No, not at all.
And there has to be somewhere. And I'm a firm believer, to be honest with you. And people don't like to hear this, but I'm a firm believer as roofers screwed the whole market up.
Yeah.
Because we're getting stuff that are approved on claims that probably shouldn't be.
Yep. I think that kind of stems from like roofs that should never got approved, getting approved, and then the supplement game kind of got kind of outrageous there. Company, not that there's anything wrong with the supplement company.
No,
but they kind of they were taking $15,000 claims to 60, and you know, just kind of scratching every last dollar. And I think that drove the.
When I first started doing this, you were going by price per square, man. Can I do this roof for $300 a square? And as long as the profit margin there, your overhead of 30 to 40% is there, you should be perfectly A-okay. The problem we have with the contractors overhead and profit and things like that is roofers like myself, and we juiced that so high that we killed the whole overhead and profit game.
Yep.
And now we're killing the whole numbers games because there's all this supplement stuff.
Yep.
You know, you're right. There's got to be a happy medium.
Yeah.
Where everyone can make good money.
Yep.
But still not chastise the insurance where all we're doing is just battling.
Yeah.
You know?
So it'll be interesting to see where insurance goes the next couple of years. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there'll always be this market
Yeah.
because there's always going to be storms, there's always going to be roofs, and the market's always going to be there. I just am kind of excited to see where it's going to turn.
Yeah.
And I think, like, right, I think it's going to turn to the retail side.
I think roofing, even though financing is already big, but I think on a wide spread of the market, it's not used as much as it should be. Like, say, buying a boat, everything's financed, right? Those type of industries. I think roofing will get to that where it's odd to buy it with cash, and everyone's going to finance. Yeah. And like a lot of companies do finance a lot, but not. If you ask everyone in here, I bet no one's rocking like 90% finance.
You know, I haven't had a storm in San Antonio in a couple of years, so now a lot of these guys that don't understand how to flip that retail model, they're struggling. So
that's true.
What's good advice to someone getting into the industry to focus on that aspect?
Well, in my market up in Minneapolis, we get storms a lot. We get, I would say probably every year we get storms, but also I try to pride myself now, I've been doing this long enough where storm or no storm, you have to build that network and that relationship base up.
Absolutely.
Where that network will start prospering retail jobs. And you have to explain to those homeowners that the game of insurance is changing. And if they don't see that, it's coming.
Big time.
I mean, with deductibles getting moved, with ACV policies, endorsements, things like that. In the next 5 to 10 years, everything's going to be switching more toward retail than it is going to be insurance, just for that reason. Not to scare people away from that storm claim possibility, because it's always going to be there.
It'll be there. It's just going to look a lot different. Yeah.
And so we got to be able to change with the times. And I'm being a dinosaur like yourself. We've been doing it 25 years. We've dealt through a lot of change.
Oh yeah.
And so I mean, we could go for 3 hours on that.
I'm right. We'll do a podcast.
Yeah,
I'll have you as a guest on Keeping It Real.
Yeah, it'd be fun because now the change is obviously going back to the retail side of it, and then doing the retail side of it is I try to push. You know, when I got an insurance claim anyway, there's retail upgrades that if you're not going for, you should be trying every single time.
Absolutely.
You know, from taking any metal siding to LP or Hardy, you know, taking any shingles to a Class 4. I mean, you got to be trying that stuff on retail side. So we don't do, like I said, like I did $18.5 million last year, and 98% of it was residential. But I would probably say I probably touch less than 10% retail right now, and it's 90% insurance. So my specialty is for sure insurance side of it. In the last year or two, I've been working a lot with retail. I've gone to the top rep. I've done a lot of different things to try to learn that retail side of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm understanding and I'm seeing the times are changing, and I got to get ahead of that. Because if I'm not ahead of that, I'm going to be way behind.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think insurance, like you said, it's gonna be more MRP programs moving forward. And if you don't want to be a part of the volume over margin, you better figure out how to get better margins now, right?
Well, and they're gonna, and you know as well as I do, if they don't know how to sell retail, those are the companies that are going to fall to the wayside. Absolutely. Because they're not going to be able to make it with the sharks out there.
Yeah, and if you're scared, you're scared, and people can see it. And...
I mean, we could go all day long because of all the private equities buying all these companies out. I mean, they're pushing retail harder and harder too with the private equity companies that I know of, that they're teaching their guys retail, and they're teaching the big fish to retail.
Yep.
And so the little guys that if they don't know retail off the start, they're going to get eaten up.
You're done before you even get started.
And Tim and I did a video on this, but if you treat that homeowner as a relationship, and you hand them a card and you explain to them exactly, and you were there, when you explain to that homeowner, hey, you've got a little bit of damage, but it's not extensive enough for being claim worthy. However, here's my card. I've got everything documented. You're going into our AccuLinks program. I've got all the pictures and like that. If another storm hits, I can come back out here and see if anything's changed. I mean, you've built that relationship up with that homeowner that anybody else that stops in that door, he's gonna be like, no, man, I already got my guy. He's gonna come out and check it, you know, and and I agree with you.
Well, and they refer you to all sorts of other people because now they trust you.
I get more
told
referrals.
Them that they don't need the thing that you sell.
I'm sure I get more referrals from jobs I tell people don't have damage than I tell people that they do have damage. Because they have that honesty factor of like, hey, this guy's not trying to just throw spaghetti against the wall. He's giving me legit, honest feedback and saying, hey, what's damage, what's not. I mean, I walk the homeowner around and say, hey, this is mechanical damage on your downspout. Let me explain to you what mechanical damage is. If it's creased, scratched, or anything like that, I said, hail doesn't crease, hail doesn't scratch. I said, hail's an ice ball. It's made of water. I said, it's going to dent, it's not going to scratch, you know? And if a homeowner is willing to climb up on top of the roof, I get up on the roof and I show them what a blister looks like. I explain to them those granules that are embedded into the mat. I explain to them, hey, listen, feel the underside of that shingle. Yeah. You should be able to feel that impact mark. You should be able to feel where it's coming. You know, and a lot of contractors are scared to go over that with a homeowner because they don't know. Yeah. You know what I mean? And explain to them that, hey, if you got good enough hail, not only could it damage the shingle above, it could damage the shingle below it. Yeah. I mean, you've got that shingle that goes up underneath that 5-inch exposure, and if it's hard enough hail, it could damage that and the one below it. But you have to educate yourself, you have to educate the homeowner, and a lot of times you have to educate the adjuster when you meet them out there.
Showing transparency to the homeowner and sometimes even to those referral partners.
Yep.
How do you handle that?
As far as
I know you talked about like bringing them up on the roof. Do you guys like share like your project timelines or a photo report or?
Yeah. So what I do when I'm doing my first inspection, I'll ask them. A lot of people don't. They'll say, oh, I'm going to go do my inspection. I'll come back down, kind of show you whatever. I actually try to do my inspections with the homeowner.
Okay.
I'll ask the homeowner right there. I'll say, listen, I understand. I said, what sets me apart from a lot of the other guys that are going to be talking to you is, I want you to be an integral part of it. This is your number one asset. I want to show you what we're looking at. You know, you can use me or not. It's your decision. There's going to be 30 different guys coming out and tell you why they're the best. I'm going to tell you why I can help you out. This is your number one asset. How can I make this and put as much value back in your home as possible? I said, so here's what we're going to do. I said, I am also a licensed insurance adjuster. I've gone through HAG certification. I've been licensed for 20 plus years. I went through Valtech. I said, I'm going to start at the left-hand corner of your property. We're going to do a full scope assessment. I would appreciate if you want to walk with me so I can show you what we're looking at. By the way, do you have any personal property that was damaged from the storm? Oh, yes, I do. You mind? What we're going to need you to do is I'm going to make you a list. I need you to go on Amazon and figure out the pricing for those lists because we're going to hand that to the adjuster when we meet them out here. By the way, you're not going to want to have an adjuster out here without a roofer, just like you don't go to court without a lawyer. You always tell a homeowner, blah, 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 right? Yeah. And so they get it. So I do the walk around with them. By the time you do that walk around with the homeowner, and you talk to them the whole time, and you've got it all sold up the whole time. Hey, we'll talk a little. Hey, I'll talk to you in a little bit, all right? I'm gonna go there. Yeah. By the time you're done with that full walk around, homeowner should be pretty much ready to roll. Yeah. And then you say, hey, you're welcome to climb up on top of the roof with me. Just so you know, you can use my ladder. That's fine. I'll help you out, but you don't have to. I can take pictures and throw you company cam or show you whatever we got up there. It's your job. By that time, they should have that trust and that belief in you. Yeah. That you go up there, you know what you're looking at. I always go up to the ridge. The first thing I do is I take my wrist photos, take the ridge pictures, go up to the ridge, go to the soft meadows, go to things like that, see if there's things. And I'm a firm believer that if I've got 15 turtle vents on a roof, and they're the soft aluminum turtle vents, and I go up there and I don't have a freaking ding or a spatter mark on any of it. Yep. And I'm sitting there trying to show 50-cent piece or golf ball size hail on the roof. That's a tough sell. Yeah. You know, and a lot of guys are just going to give, oh, it's an older roof, let's just give it a shot, see what happens. I don't do that, you know, and I explain to the homeowner why. And I'm like, listen, I said, your adjuster's going to come up here. The first thing he's going to look at and explain to why. And I say, if I sit there and try to, because a lot of homeowners are like, oh yeah, they said it was hammered, they said it was this. I've had guys out here. I'll say, this is the reason why. This is what we're going to get at. Now, if you had dents all over your vents, and then we did that, I said, now we have something to work with. Yep. You know, and then you look for it. And so, I mean, it's, to me and to you, it's pretty easy. Yeah. But for a new rep, there's a lot of integral parts that go in that, and that's why the proper training, the proper education is what's needed. Because what they do is a lot of places, they go through their training and send them on out there and go knock doors and let's see what happens.
A good question for new reps. So customer goes, hey, I like you, sounds good. I don't really want to sign that yet. Can we just see what the adjuster has to say first? Nope.
I'd say, I have a scope assessment. This is what I draw up. This is what I'm going to hand the insurance adjuster when I'm out there with them. I said, by signing this, you give me permission. I said, you know, 15, 20 years ago, I used to come out and do these with a handshake and a thank you. I said, nowadays, with where I'm at, I said, to be honest with you, I got to feed my family. I'm not going to waste my time, come out here and get something approved for you, where you can just go find Bob, Joe, and Dick and go have somebody else do the roof. I said, if you want me to help you out, I'll be happy to help you out. I said, but also there's got to be some skin in the game for me too, because if I get it approved, I'm going to be the one to do the work. And I think a lot of the reps are afraid to say that to homeowners.
Because they got one appointment today.
Exactly. And they're afraid to lay it on the line to homeowner. I think homeowners want to hear that. Be like, listen, if I'm here working for you, then I want that.
It's a different dynamic. It's a power dynamic, and it doesn't have to be a bad thing for the customer, right? Like they're going to get your excellent service, they're going to get your attention, and you're going to be able to invest your time and energy into them because you have the confidence of knowing this is a deal. As opposed to you're going to kind of half-ass it if you're like, this is a 50-50 shot that I got this thing anyway, or worse.
Well, I think it's a light switch, right? I mean, in doing sales, and you've done this before, it's a light switch in your brain where when you can flip that light switch and be like, it's okay to lose this one if this person's not going to work with me, because it might not be the person,
you down and
might not be the person you want to work with anyway. If you just spent the last 45 minutes, hour pre-selling, objections, everything with this homeowner, and they're still not ready to sign with you, there's probably an issue somewhere in your sales that you didn't explain it well enough to this homeowner that like this is. But I don't usually get that issue. For the reason I don't get that issue is because I handle that objection throughout my sale.
Right.
So they know throughout the sale that they're signing something at the end.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's like you said. I think that people are asking, well, dude, you never miss a sale. I said, I miss sales sometimes on retails because retails are a different ballgame.
Sometimes I miss those sales in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I don't even do the inspection.
You can read a homeowner right off the bat. If I read a homeowner and he ain't budging, or it's straight up bid on an insurance claim, I'll be like, you know what? Maybe you and I aren't the perfect fit for each other. You might want to grab somebody else that can come around. One of these storm chasers will help you out. I say, but I'm here to help a homeowner get what's truly valuable to them, and that's as much value back into your asset as possible.
So we talked about some of the customers that you realize pretty quickly this isn't going to be a fit.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. Do you use any other qualifications in terms of obviously geographically? It can be, hey, this is too far for me. Do you categorize, hey, this type of roofing system, this size of building, this insurance carrier? Are there any kind of other disqualifiers there, or at least red flags there?
Not really. The only disqualifier I get, for me, disqualifiers is when I go and meet with the homeowner, and I mean anybody that's doing this a while, they can feel that out real quick if this isn't going to be a fit. I mean, I can feel a squirrel very, very, right away.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm out at a job site and I can see a guy that's trying to get, me to do work for him for free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it happens. And it's fine. I mean, there's people are people. I get it. But I can feel that out right away. And if you're battling to get anywhere with this homeowner as far as an inspection or as far as a signature, I mean, it's okay to wash your hands because there's going to be issues. That's what it always is. If you got a homeowner that's already pointing out things and you're not even doing anything, there might be an issue. But I treat every person as a clean slate. I get in, I don't care, and I'm a firm believer. I mean, I do $18.5 million in a year, which is great, but who cares? I will go out and do a 2 downspout job. I have no minimum because to me, those are the type of jobs that can turn into something bigger down the road. Yeah. So I don't have a minimum as far as what I will and won't do. I mean, I'll go out to a house, even if there's no damage on a property, I'll ask the homeowner, is there anything else that you want me to take a look at that you want a retail price for?
Yeah.
There's no job too small, no job too big, because you're never going to do it. And I mean, we could go all day long, you and I could, because I mean, like on HOAs and whatever, I do maintenance agreements on all those, and I mean, that's how I get into that realm of things. And I mean, I was at Bergey's thing up last week, and I was talking about, they're like, what do you mean, why would you do maintenance agreements? And I said, I go up every year and I caulk nails, and they're like, why do you do that? I said,
caulk's cheap.
For that time when something happens. Yeah. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, well, for example, I said, I just sold $1.5 million job 3 weeks ago from a job that I put on 6 downspouts for two years ago.
Yeah.
Like, what? I said, yeah, lady needed 6 downspouts because she had 2x3s, wanted 3x4s because shit was getting caught up in the elbows. So I put on 6 downspouts at $11 a foot. I said I made about $400.
Yeah, not really worth your time.
No, but I did it. And then I said, now this year they got a hailstorm, and I just sold them a $1.5 million job that's already been approved. I said, that's why I did 6 downspouts.
Yep. Love it. What do you think a regular routine schedule should look like for these guys? Even like outside of their work, like their
like habits, and
exercise and breakfast and balance.
Well, I'm very habit oriented. So, and something I realized 15, 20 years ago is you have to be structured and organized in this job. And people that's part of my 5 C's is I tell people you have to create your own schedule. What I mean by that is People are like, oh, we're at the liberty of the homeowner, or we're at the liberty of the adjuster. I'm like, no, you're at the liberty of your schedule. And if you set your schedule properly, your homeowner, your adjuster, your color meetings, they'll all follow within tow. But you have to set that schedule, and you have to abide by that schedule. So for me, my habits are every morning I wake up in the morning, I go in, obviously get ready, and then I go work out. I do a workout, 45 minutes to an hour workout, and then I'm up and rolling at 7 o'clock. And so if it's a build day, which most of my days are build days, the first thing I do is I drive out to wherever I'm building. That's my office for the day. And I check on the build, make sure everything's running smoothly, check in with the homeowner, do my morning check-in if they're there. And then either I'll put out Watch Us Works, or I'll have my Watch Us Works out the day before. That's, to me, is the most important thing there is. And I tell people all the time, if they're not putting out flyers or Watch Us Works, it's a huge bonus. But anyway, and then watch my job site for a while. And then usually within the job site, I've got appointments going on, and I'll go to appointments. But I'll run to appointment, come back, run to appointment.
So for the guy that doesn't already have a build going on very often, doesn't already have appointments, right? How does he start that?
So what I would
momentum,
do,
right? Because he's stopped. You've got momentum, and it's a lot easier to keep momentum going. Than
so what I would do on that situation is I would talk to somebody a sales rep that's got builds and things going on, and say, listen, man. And most people in the company are pretty cool with it. I'd say, listen, I don't have any builds going on. I see that you've got 2 builds going on. Any possible chance I can come out to your build and go about 4, 5, 6 blocks away and just start putting some flyers up and using your build as kind of a momentum to help you get things rolling? Yeah. Most sales reps would be cool with it. Like, I can understand.
It's kind of a red flag if they're not.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I completely understand if you're going next door to the guy's build's going on, be like, hey, can I go knock on his door? It's like, come on, that's his area. Let him have his at least street or 2. You know what I mean? Yeah. But if you offer and go 4, 5, 6 blocks away, if a sales rep's not cool with it, then you need to talk. He's not really a team player.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
it's not very cultured.
Yeah, you go 4, 5, 6 blocks away. You hang your flyers. But the key is you have to be seen. You have to be out there, because you ain't gonna get shit if you're sitting at home. Yeah. You ain't gonna get shit if you're sitting at the office. And if you're at your office, the only thing you should be doing at your office is prepping to go back out in the field. Yeah. Because you're only gonna sign jobs out in the field. Right. And I think you and I've talked, or I know Tim and I've talked about this, and a lot of people, when you're a new sales rep, you have to go through that grind of knocking doors, hanging flyers, being seen. You have to do that. That's how you build your base. That's how you build your I call it my Fab 100. You know, my 100 people that I can always look at my 100 people, and they're always going to get me more people because they're my 100, right? And I've got a list. I make a list of my 100 people. And every year on that 100 people, I send them all an email, and I send them all thank you and say, hey, appreciate you being on my Fab 100, right? And all they do is they're my network group. They just throw my name everywhere, right? Yeah. From police officer, sergeant in the police force, I've got the principal of our school, I've got the athletic director, I mean, people that are in the business that know people. Yeah. And that's how you get to know people, and you just keep branding yourself that way. And then a storm hits in a new area, so like I'm in Hudson, St. Croix County up in Minneapolis, so I've got my Fab 100 there. Storm hit in Minneapolis, well, I'm already started. I've got 27 people. I'm starting a new Fab 100 in a different area. So I branch my name out there and get that networking boosting going on. If that means community work, that means sponsorships, things like that, and get your name out there in those different areas. And it's not always for the storm hitting right now. It's for that storm that's going to hit in 2 years. Right. You know what I mean? If I've got my Fab 100 already out there for that storm that hits in 2 years, when that storm hits in 2 years, guess what's going to happen? What do you think? What's number one thing you'd tell brand new guys knocking doors?
Just don't give up. Keep going.
Keep rolling, right?
Keep moving forward.
There's going to be good days and bad days, right?
There's going to be good days. There's going to be bad days. You just got to get through them all. And just remember, like, you're not going to be a national champion overnight. No. Right? Like,
and it takes time to build a network. It takes time to build a relationship.
You're not going to be first place. You're not going to be the best. Like, all of it takes time, and it's okay to get your face pounded in.
Yep.
And get kicked and get down on yourself. The important thing is how much you get back up.
That's awesome.
And not just for work. Like, for me, how you take door to door and how you react to adversity and rejection is actually how you in life, how you act to rejection, adversity, whatever happens, right?
Well, it's a life trait you're learning too.
Exactly.
It's hard, and you try to explain, especially these new guys, that shit's not going to get handed to you. You have to go out and work at it, but if you put the time and effort into it, there's a golden light at the end.
There always is.
You know, and you got to get to it.
It gets better.
All new sales reps, you have to go through that grind first.
Yeah.
You know, these guys get that instant gratification that you're just going to tell them something brand new, and they're just going to jump out and make $1 million in their first year. It's not going to happen. You have to go through that grind and get your network and you get your relationship base first. Once you get that, then you build your 100. And what I mean by 100 is you find your 100 people. You know, what I mean by 100, like my athletic director was one of my 100. My pastor was one of my 100. I find my 100 people that are like in my hand 100, right? And what I do is I have that 100 will reach out to get me 1 or 2 each.
Yeah.
So that 100 brings out to 300. This is how I got 18.5 million. Is I planted that seed.
You were doing
doing
donations and stuff like that?
I do sponsorship, so I sponsor Coco's Heart. I sponsor the Hudson Youth Football Clinic. So I gave a $1,500 donation every year to the police department in Hudson, and I donate. So I did canine dog vests for the canine unit.
Oh, okay.
Life vest for the canine unit. Get a sponsorship. Get
Do you just like offer it to them, or?
Yeah. I just say, hey, is there anything I can do to help sponsor anything out in your area? And the guy's like, well, you know, we'd always take this. And that. I'm like, and I just found out, just by chance, I found out that the police force all got brand new life vests, but they didn't have any for the dogs.
Oh, okay.
So then I researched it and I found out that you can get a dog life vest for like $800. So then I'm like, shit. So then I bought, because we have 4 canines in Hudson, so then I bought 4 life vests for the canine unit, and I donated it to the Hudson Police Department. Of course, you make it a big deal because everybody sees it and everything like that, right? Dude, but everybody sees it in your community page. You're on the Hudson word of mouth. You're on the BNIs. You just got to be seeing it. And the biggest thing, like I do $2,000 every year. So I personally, out of my own money, not Build Strong, out of my own money, I take $5,000 a year, and I use that as
give back
marketing back to myself. So I took $2,000 every year, and the entire youth football organization, I sponsored concussion-proof helmets. So I bring the helmets in, and then in doing that, I put Build Strong Exteriors on the back of every kid's jersey. Okay. So there's 250 kids playing football with Build Strong Exteriors on the back of their jersey, with every parent there watching. If something ever happened to hit, boom. And the best thing about it is that's 250 kids' parents that they sign up for the whatever. I have all their emails.
Oh,
so when something hit, what do you think the first thing they got on their email blast was? Hey, this is Dan Walrack, Hudson coach in football, blah, blah, blah. I was the one who donated concussion-proof helmets. I own a roofing company. Here's my information. We just got a hailstorm. Would you like me to come on and take a look at it? You know, it's little things like that. You have to, what I tell people all the time, especially new sales reps, to invest in yourself, okay? Because what I failed to do when I first started is I had the same mindset. Money, 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 money. I need to go do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. Where I didn't take money and bring it back and invest back in myself and learn from myself. It says, hey, if I would have just done this a little bit harder, shit, I wouldn't have had to knock on doors for an extra year, right? I could have worked on my referral base.
Yeah. So
there's different strategies you can do in that it's so much easier. And then I'm in 2 different BNI groups right now. And I do BNI groups just because those are lead-based they're generators. You know, I send plumbing to Jose, if Jose's a plumber. If you know a guy that needs a roof, you're going to send a roof to my way. Those are just different generations of leads. So, pretty cool.